See, the uncertainty is one thing which is a cause of a concern because after COVID, as I mentioned it, I just give an example of semiconductor industry. What happened is the prediction, nobody could able to predict that the industry is going to struggle like this without having a semiconductor. The car cannot be produced, and this is an example which I mention it because it's a very hard lessons learned in the industry. Before COVID, it was everything can be predictable. Everything, people always used to say that you can predict what is going to happen. And now going forward, the concept of when the brittleness of thing is happening, where there is a lot of influence which the complete industry is getting dismantled, and you have to operate in terms of the vulnerable situation. I mean, the hard and soft, it's only a question of time. It's a dependency with respect to the relative factor. I will not say because of this uncertainty that the times becoming difficult. I will not say that because that's the order of the day and the order of era. What I would more say, see, for example, if you take about the shipping lines, in the past, you know that the country had container shortages, wherein which the price get doubled, tripled, in fact, in terms of moving a container from Europe to Asia or to anywhere for that matter. Suddenly the shipping lines have ordered huge ships, number of ships. And now, I do not know the situation, more than 50 to 60% prices come down in the shipping lines, which has happened just in last 6 months to 1 year time. Wherein which in 2 years back, we are all talking about it has become 3 times more. This always means that this will get stabilized. It's always will have a temporary phenomena and the phenomena will get stabilized. Only thing is, one has to be adaptive for this situation when you are on a short-term basis. Once we are done that, I'm sure that we can able to handle the situation even in the longer term. That's an interesting situation. Of course, the digitalization, I would say it has been started since, I would say even a decade back. It is not something new for us. Of course, the participation in the sourcing, even the suppliers, see why it is happening, digitalization, the one interesting portion is the standardization is also getting evolved in terms of any materials getting standardized. So automatically the sourcing can be done with the digitalization way, where the concept of innovation coming up, there you have to do a collaboration approach which will not be with the digitalization, but it will be with a more of collaboration approach. So in answer to your question on digitalization, of course, yes, once the standardization happens, this digitalization helps the organization to source material at a faster phase rather than a long, sourcing process. See, that's why we call it as a technocrat, not the commercial guy, because I always used to mention that when you talk about a price parameter, people say the market decides the price. On the other side, the price is evaluated based on the cost as well. There is an input cost. That's how they arrive the selling price. But what happens today's era, when you talk about a complete sustainability market, you have so much of system is getting changed. So what happens is, one, the challenge which as a procurement buyer or anybody will be facing is that estimating the cost, how the market will behave. That will be the biggest challenge for a procurement guy to arrive at what should be the market price. Yeah, it is not, see, when a procurement guy has to be upfront in finalizing a cost for the solution. There you find it difficulties in terms of, because of this uncertainty, we do not know the benchmark price is right or wrong. This is what I would say that is a challenging part when we talk about sustainability topic. We're talking about EPR coming up. We're talking about all the sustainable, the supplier, the complete ecosystem need to implement the, what I call that, the net zero and all these concepts. What will happen? It's all added to the cost factor. How you capture it in terms of product pricing, this will be the challenging part, and this will have a challenging in terms of settlement of commercial things as well. This is actually, walking on the rope, because one thing is there is we clearly, as in we can work with the vendor, but what happens is when you form an organization and try to make a vendor getting developed, the issue is first of all on the act, which is we should not get into this CCI issues. That is the first thing as a legal requirement. We should not be interfering and asking a vendor how much he will be quoting for on all those things. This will be a unethical practice. But what I would say that is, on terms of association of an innovation, yes, there are so many things. For example, the NR project which is worked in Northeast, I would say to you, the salute of thing what is happening in this country is to create a capacity and work with the farmers to see that this is getting developed. This, I would say, is an benchmarking activity what India is doing. And I'm sure this kind of things should evolve with a joint association of these innovative things and developing a new technologies, etc. See, that's a very interesting model. Actually, I tell you, I mean, some of the case examples which I always explain is, see, as a OEM manufacturer, as a tire, it is not that we from R&D perspective will develop all the solutions. We'll always, that's why we call it as a vendor partnership. We used to conduct some of the innovation day. You know, what we do is we just call all the vendors and then we display the components of products, what we manufacture it. And we start getting into, that's what we call it as an early involvement of a supplier or early involvement of the vendors to see that what they can contribute in terms of my production line or my product design, etc. So that they will always give us an input for us to amend on that. This will take it as a separate project and this will lead, actually it has given an enormous improvement in terms of product optimization. Of course, it is a proven thing that the supply chain as a model, as a thing, will be always a challenging factor because of you have this geopolitical stuff and you have this uncertainty and all this kind of stuff. So what happens, that's why the concept has to come towards of local to local approach. If a player is in India, the expectation is the fulfillment should happen locally. Then the industry will get self-sufficient products or the solutions wherein which the biggest portion of supply chain can be eradicated. So many of the cases we find that because of the supply chain constraints, we have to go there or we have to do this, we have no other choice. Yeah, so I would only put it like from the supply chain perspective, we'll have a bigger challenges because today people are talking about hourly delivery, minute delivery, etc. With this kind of an approach, how best you can do it when you're at a different part of the globe, how you ensure that this thing goes smooth and then getting implemented for the production line, it is not an easy challenge, but this will be there and slowly you need to reduce the dependency factor.